And, you know, we've always been there. And we've always been working, trying to get our work made. But we've been, I guess, you know, for lack of a better word, we've been, you know, I guess more underground, you know what I mean? Because the opportunities were just never there, and nobody ever talked about women directors. You know, they would always just say, well, there are no women directors. But we would always say, yes, we're here. We just aren't the ones that are getting, you know, getting the work, or, you know, getting opportunities. People say, you know, I've heard that people say that it's harder for a woman director to get her film financed than it would be for a male director. I mean, we see, you know, how young male directors will do one feature film, a low-budget feature film, a small indie film, and then suddenly will skyrocket and just fall right into doing $100 million, you know, film right after that. Whereas a woman, statistically, will do a low-budget independent feature film, and she's lucky if she even gets to make a second film. And it's very sad that that's the way it goes, because, you know, directors get better. Directors improve their work by making work. But if you're not getting the opportunities to make work, then you're not able to grow in your career. So that's what happens a lot to female directors. The good news is that there has been a wave in the last few years where women are standing up and they're saying, you know, enough is enough. And honestly, I think this is really coming out of the digital revolution, because equipment and cameras and things like that it's just become cheaper to make things and more accessible, and it's more acceptable to make things like on an iPhone and on lesser cameras, because if you're telling a good story, you know, that's really what matters most. And so women, you know, are embracing this, you know, this revolution, and we're getting out there and we're just saying, you know, enough is enough. We you know, we're going to make our own work, and we're really banding together. You know, I see now where it used to be that, you know, I'd be the only woman on the set, you know, but now, you know, it's like women are making film crews with only women in them, you know what I mean, and really supporting each other. And so it's a very exciting time right now. And you're seeing, like, you know, directors like Ava DuVernay, who are rising in the ranks and in the business, and are getting incredible opportunities. And she's doing an amazing thing because she is giving other women opportunities. Like on her television show now, she has only hired female writers and directors, and that's an incredible thing. She's really walking her talk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I know Reese Witherspoon, I just heard that she had just said that she only wanted to have on her next film an all-female crew.
Wow.
So that's, you know, it's about time,
yeah.
And it's just a very exciting time right now. And so I'm really personally glad that I have stuck with it. I hadn't given up, and I just kept trying, you know. The interesting thing that I did see at the Phoenix Film Festival was that, you know, I was in the narrative, you know, in the competition sections for the films, for the feature films, and there were only 2 films by women directors, including myself, in that entire group, and the rest were all males. And it just was like every panel that I went on, it was only me with a group of men. And so, you know, so when I said earlier about, you know, things are changing, but they haven't changed, it's like we're making the work, but, you know, the film festivals and stuff like that just haven't caught up to us, in the industry and stuff. It hasn't caught up with us, but hopefully it will continue. And I know there are a lot of film festivals out there that are making it a priority to do 50% women. I believe I just was reading there's a film festival called Blackbird Film Festival, and they say that they will do 50-50, you know.
Blackbird Festival?
50% men. I believe it's called Blackbird. Yeah, I just heard about it the other day, and I thought that's cool, you know what I mean? Like, because we have to, you know, we have to make an effort to do these. We have to make an effort to to, you know, to have this kind of equality. You know what I mean? No matter what. You can't just say, like, well, there were no good films by women or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like, I kind of am thinking that, you know, just after watching some of the films and, you know, watching mainstream entertainment all the time, you know, because we have not had women filmmakers or women directors, you know, since, not the beginning of cinema, because in the beginning of cinema, there were, you know, women were actually the ones who were directing and editing more than the men, and it just ended up somehow getting switched over, you know, over time, and then, you know, we just got completely pushed out. But where was I going with this?
We were talking about the 50-50, how Blackbird is really...
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So we are not seeing voices of women out there in the media, and so, you know, I was thinking to myself, like, you know, I'm programmed to just enjoy movies about white men and their lives, and I don't know how. You know, it's almost like I don't even know how to look at a movie directed by a woman. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and there is a different, you know, and it's an interesting and an exciting time for women, because we're almost like figuring, I mean, we must be like learning to figure out what our voices are. You know what I mean? Because, you know, we haven't had a voice. We haven't had an opportunity to have a voice. We've been kind of told, you know, that our voices don't matter. And, you know, and we have spent so many decades, like Catherine Bigelow has done recently. You know, we couldn't do thrillers and things like that, you know. So, you know, I'm just super excited to see what voices continue to come out, and what the female gaze is going to be. There's Agnes Varda, who is a director who has been around for 40 years or something like that. And, you know, she is kind of like one of the, you know, prominent female directors that, you know, really kind of explores that idea of the female gaze. So it's great to watch her work and how she's progressed, you know, and she's just somebody that a lot of us look up to, you know. So,
now, when we met earlier, before the Phoenix Film Fest kicked off, we were talking about the women's movement, the Women's March. I know I went to the Washington, D.C. one, the very first one, and you were in California participating there too. I think that the women's marches are really causing us to band together, and you know, we're strengthening each other as well. Don't you kind of see that shift taking place?
Yes, absolutely. I do. I think the Women's March was just such an incredible moment. And I'm so glad that they did it again this year, and, you know, and that these women are creating additional marches, you know. And I mean, to me, 2017 was the year of the woman, you know what I mean? Like, It was the year where we were like, enough is enough, you know, like with the Me Too movement happening in addition to that, and that women do not want to be silenced anymore, and like you said, you know, we're banding together, and, you know, it's been so cool seeing how women are coming out and talking about, you know, how, you know, they've been abused or oppressed, and that they're just not going to stand for it anymore, and that women are saying, yes, you know what I mean, I believe you, because me too, you know, it's happened to me too. And, you know, when the Me Too thing, you know, first started happening last year, when it kind of like the ball was rolling, because it had been around for, you know, before this, but when it really kind of picked up, you know, and people were doing all the multiple posts on Facebook, it was just so, you know, people were shocked to see how, you know, like, I think men were really like woken up in that moment. So, it's incredibly exciting, and you know, I think women at this point, you know, I think when we talked the other day, you know, I think we really saw eye to eye that we're just like, we're sick of it, and sick of it waiting for permission to do the things that we want to do. And we're sick of, you know, and we're sick of waiting for people to be given opportunities. And I think that, like, we're gonna, you know, it's almost like we're gonna go and we're gonna make our own opportunities together off to the side over here, and we're gonna, you know, and we're gonna buy each other's stuff, and we're gonna, you know, promote each other's stuff, and we're gonna create this whole other world almost, living on the same planet, you know, but a different planet.
Well,
which sounds kind of crazy and sci-fi, but you know what I mean, like, so.
Yeah, and one of the things, and we're going to go on a quick 1-minute break here in a minute, but one of the things that I enjoyed about our conversation in part of our discussion of just being fed up with how women are portrayed in film, in movies, and in media and whatever, but one of the things that I respected about you is there is no nudity in this film of any of the female cast, correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That was something very specific that I wanted to do. So
I really like that, and I really appreciate. I think that's leadership, and you're starting with trying to turn things around and make it fair. We're going to go on a quick break, but just kind of wanted to tell my audience who is watching, if you want a complimentary ticket to Disney's On Ice to watch Frozen at the Talking Stick Arena, I have tickets for April 12th and through the 15th, brought to you by Frekuencia Alterna. And Kale and Trina, I've got one reserved for you. We're going to go on break. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Hola amigos, soy Pedro Cervantes, director de marketing de Warner McKinley. Recuerda, si tú o uno de tus familiares o conocidos ha tenido un accidente automovilístico, lesionado en el trabajo, lesionado personal o quizás una fatalidad, guarda mi número, seguro le podemos ayudar.
Recuerda, si no ganamos, tú no pagas. Puedes llamar al teléfono 623-680-9354.
Okay, and we're back. Laura, are you on the line?
I'm still here.
All right. To my listeners, this is DeeDee Garcia Blase. I'm your host of the Tequila Onda show, programmed right here on Frekuencia Alterna. And our target market are Latinos, Mexicanos, Chicanos, Hispanics, everybody. Everybody can listen to this program, but our demographic is primarily those of Latin descent. Let's talk about your almost all Latino cast. I do have a shout out that needs to go to, in my view, Laura, and I told him directly at the film fest, I think Ulysses Montoya is going to be and has the ability to be the future Benjamin Bratt.
He did tell me that, yeah. When we first met him and saw him, my sister and I lovingly referred to him as the Mexican Matthew McConaughey. So we agree with you. We think he is definitely he has what it takes to be a superstar. So we are so lucky to have found him. He's fantastic, as is everyone. I really do believe everyone in the cast is incredible and really has the opportunity to make an incredible career for themselves. And you know, it feels so good to me to feel like I'm that person that got to discover them, you know what I mean? And that later, when people, when they're, you know, 20 years from now, when their careers are exploded and they're, you know, these, you know, very respected actors, and whether they're character actors or superstars or whatever, that people will go back and watch Rich Kids and they'll go, wow, I can't believe all of those people are in this movie, you know, because there are movies out there like that exist, you know. And that's really my dream, you know what I mean, is for this to be that film that
be a launching pad.
Their launching pad, yeah. I mean, it would, you know, of course, David Saldaña, my co-writer, and I, we would like to both also launch our careers, but for speaking specifically for our staff, that's our dream, you know. So,
right.
And you know, and the beautiful thing about, you know, how much we love these young actors and everyone working on our film, all of our key crew working on this film, you know, everything that we did, all of the work that we did was truly from our hearts for these actors, you know, and wanting to elevate them and put them out to the world, you know what I mean? So, you know, all the love that you see in the film, not just on, you know, in the actors' performances, but also just in every aspect of the film, from the music to the editing to the cinematography, you know, is really came from a love of these actors. So they're very special people. So, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the film. By the way, I'm getting a question online from a listener by the name of Naiche Sol Chavira. He's also in the film industry, and he wasn't able to come on Saturday to watch the movie at the Phoenix Film Fest. Where can my listener see your movie? Do they have to follow you, your Facebook, to follow the Film Fest, or is it going to be on Netflix later on? Can you touch on that real quick before you go into the story?
We're going to continue to get it out there, but what we're telling people is that they need to go sign up for our mailing list on our website, which is richkidsthemovie.com. And there's a place where they can, you know, put in their email address, and we will keep people updated as to where we're going to be, you know, and what our plans are. You know, what we're wanting to do is do some film festivals. We want to also, you know, just tour around theatrically, you know, with the film. And then, you know, in probably about 6 months, I think what we're going to do is we're going to release it on digital platforms like iTunes and Amazon. And then, you know, after a few months of that, then hopefully we'll make it to Netflix. I mean, Netflix right now is got their own content that they're developing, and so they're less, you know, it's a lot more difficult to get independent content onto that site now, just because, like I said, they've got their own production company now. But you know, people I've talked to who kind of had connections with them seem to think that we stand a pretty good chance of getting on there because of the fact that, you know, there is a huge demand for Latino content, but there's not a lot out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
we need more Latino content where it puts us in a good light.
Exactly, yeah. So, and that was just something, you know, that was super important to us as well when we made the film.
Can you tell the listener why they need to see this film, why they need to sign up for your newsletter at richkidsthemovie.com?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really, I mean, the reason why is that, you know, it's that if they want to support and they want to see opportunities for Latino actors, that's just the number one reason they need to do it. You know, you've got to support your own community. You know what I mean? And you know, and as the film itself, you know, I mean, it's an incredibly entertaining story. You know, we have so many. It's, you know, just the idea of just breaking into a house and having a party and having fun and all of that is just it's a fun universal story that anybody can relate to, you know, wanting to see how, you know, the other half lives. You know, if people are interested in using entertainment as a means of social activism, you know, this film is all about that. You know what I mean? You know, this is a film that, you know, is about activism for, you know, anybody who feels like they've been marginalized. You know what I mean? Like, we have it starring Latino actors, but, you know, the message, the greater message of this film, it really speaks to everyone, you know. Like, I had so many people coming up to me after the film festival, you know, all kinds of backgrounds, and saying that how much this film spoke to them, you know what I mean? So, you know, we're trying to use this film to elevate society and make society better, you know. So, you know, and just the acting is fantastic. It's just a truly an entertaining film.
Now, how much did David Saldaña, your co-writer, co-creator, write, and how much of the script did you write?
Oh, it was completely 50-50.
Oh, wow.
You know,
okay.
the way that we did it was that I, you know, came to him with the outline, with the general outline and the idea, and, you know, pitched it to him, and he said, yeah, he wanted to do it. And so we together spent, you know, we had time. You know, I had these characters I wanted to develop, and so we spent a lot of time together talking about the characters. And then he said, okay, I want you to go and write the first draft. So I went and I did the first pass. And then what we would do is that we would just pass it back and forth to each other. So, you know, there'd be holes in the script where I'd be like, I don't know what to do here. You know what I mean? And so then he would, I'd shoot it over to him, and he'd fill in the gaps. And then he'd shoot it back to me, and then I would, you know, make a pass on what he had done, and he would make a pass on what I had done. And so many of these scenes are so interwoven with the two of us. You know what I mean? Like that. It's like we're bleeding. I mean, like we just became kind of one person, you know what I mean, in the film, that you could even, like, not, you know, sometimes I even forget, like, who wrote that, or who wrote, you know what I mean, like,
well, his Spanglish was really well received, I think, by me, a Chicana, a Mexican-American, and I think that there is not enough Spanglish, Spanish, and English incorporated in film, but when we see that, Laura, up on the screen, we sort of sit in the seat thinking, hey, that's us. That's our lingo.
Yeah,
props.
That's good. And, you know, the actors also contributed to that also. You know, they would, you know, we do the scene, and, you know, that's one thing that I also need to mention, just about this collaborative nature of the project, and how important it was for me as, you know, a white person, to kind of take a step back and, like, listen, and not just say you're going to do it like this, because that's not what we need to be doing these days.
Right.
We need to be listening more. And, you know, so I would, you know, say, well, what do you guys think about the scene? You know, does this seem good to you? Do you feel good about it? You know, like, is there anything that you would, so they would say, like, oh, well, they might say this instead, you know, or can I add some more Spanglish in here, or something like that, you know what I mean? And so, you know, the actors themselves really, you know, contributed a lot in that way too. And here's another thing that, you know, you're talking about appreciating the Spanglish and all that. You know, the actors, we were just talking the other day to somebody, and they said, you know, when they go on auditions, that people ask them to put on an accent rather than just speaking the way that they speak, you know, as if there's some magical accent out there, and it's like a totally fake, you know, whatever it is. I don't even know, you know, but they're all like, it's like they always ask that of us.
It's like Hollywood doesn't understand that a lot of us that have been quote-unquote whitewashed through education, our educational system, in light of the era of the English-only movement, and those people who don't want us talking Spanish, well, we've essentially become washed out of our, you know, our language, the Spanish language. And so hence the Spanglish, and Hollywood hasn't really understood that completely, else they would be doing more of it.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, DeeDee, they don't understand a lot of anything. You know, they don't understand a lot of anybody else out there. You know, any culture out there. They don't understand women. They don't understand, you know,
and they want you to lose creative control. You have to sell out essentially in Hollywood. Some of the Chicanos, Mexicans, Latino leaders in Hollywood have told me that, you know, Hollywood wants you. They want you to lose that creative control. And where is the genuine, honest approach if we lose that?
And, you know, and speaking to that, you know, like I spent so much time also trying to, you know, mold myself to becoming whatever Hollywood wanted me to be. But, you know, I'm 44 years old, and, you know, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm like, at this point, I have nothing to lose, and, you know, nobody's knocking on my door, you know, and nobody has been knocking on my door, so I really have nothing to lose, and so I'm just going to make what I want to make, and, you know, not worry about that, you know what I mean? So, but I know people have to do what they have to do to put food on the table, so.
And you're making film from a good place in your heart with good messages, promoting women, even, well, when I saw your film, I liked the intelligent dialogue by one of the female characters. I forgot her name, but she was really disgusted with how women are depicted in society. Yeah. So I appreciated that dialogue.
Thank you. I'm glad that you did, because, you know, for me, like, I wrote that character because I want her to be a hero for young women. You know what I mean? Because when I was at the film festival, you know, I saw so many movies, and DeeDee, I was heartbroken at what I saw, because in every movie that I saw, women were depicted as idiots, and idiots or sex objects. Even today, in independent film, with, you know, intelligent men, and we've been talking about all this for so long, and it's like, can you guys just please just give us a woman who has some depth and some layers, you know what I mean? And so I was really sad, but hopefully the tide will continue to shift, you know what I mean? I mean, we really had the only film that I saw that had young girls who had brains and had something to say, you know what I mean, besides just being props and sexualized objects, you know what I mean? So,
right. Well, hopefully this Me Too movement will continue to gain momentum, forcing the culture to be changed.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, you can't, you know, like, men have to make the change too. Men artists, men writers and directors have to make the change also. You know, it can't just be coming from the women, you know what I mean? Because, you know, right now the guys are still in the lead in terms of who's getting the content out there, you know. And I just really believe, you know, I was doing a panel yesterday, you know, talking about what do female directors or whatever, female filmmakers, their vision, you know, how they see the world, you know, can affect. And I said, you know, media today affects how we see ourselves, you know what I mean? And it probably affects how we are. Like, if we see it, we can be it. It's that whole thing, you know what I mean? And so it's like, if we're only, you know, and sadly for many people, I can't even see myself, so I'm invisible. You know, that's the message that that many people are being given. You know, so I, as a woman, I'm seeing myself and I'm just an idiot, you know, or, you know, being a middle-aged woman, I'm just, you know, now I'm invisible because I'm not considered to be, you know, a sex object or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, but I mean, so for me, it was like, you know, with these characters, you know, it was like, you know, it was like both the boy characters and the girl characters, the males and the females. You know, the females, I wanted to give them, you know, a feminist, you know, a feminist bent and to have multi layers and deep stories and even with the character who, you know, puts herself out there in a sexual way and tries to be flirty and use her sexuality to get what she wants. You know, you see later in the film, you know, you really start to understand why that she is that way. You know what I mean? And you start to really feel for her and why she's making those kinds of choices. So, and with the male characters, you know, it was really important to, you know, because I have a son, as I told you, you know, to try to, now we just see so many movies out there where the characters, the male characters, are so hyper masculinized and like the superheroes with these huge cut bodies, and they have superpowers and super strength, and and the men are always these just they don't have any emotion. They're tortured, and they won't share their feelings, you know what I mean? And it's like, you're not helping people with that kind of thing. And so for me, it was important. Let's have young men who aren't afraid to talk about their feelings and talk about their emotions, who aren't afraid to cry when things are difficult, you know what I mean?
Now, a lot of your actors and actresses are from Texas. A shout out to Gerardo Velasquez, who plays Mateus. He's from Houston. Michelle McGowan, who plays McGowan, who plays Vanessa, also from Houston. And shout out to Justin Rodriguez, who plays Steve. He's half Puerto Rican, half Cuban, and he's from New York City. And then there's Ulysses Montoya, who plays Carlos. He's, in my view, has the ability to be the future Benjamin Bratt. He just kind of had that Vatos Locos vibe, a film that I grew up with. Alessandra Manon, who played Jasmine. She's a Mexican actor based in Los Angeles who will always call Texas her home. So props to her too. Naomi Antoinette, who plays Isabel. Am I saying her name correctly? Naomi?
Yeah.
And she's from New Jersey. Born of 2 Haitian parents. So that was really good to see that Haitian vibe. In my view, they don't. Our immigration policy with the Haitian community is, in my view, very, very poor. Brittany Sandoval, who plays Tina, props to her. She's from Colombia, and I think I spoke to her too. But that's pretty much your cast. Let's not forget your co-writer, David Sandoval. Am I saying that correctly?
David Saldaña.
Saldaña. Oops. I was scrolling my notes too fast, so I apologize for that. Is there anything that you want to say? We've got about 3 more minutes. How can people reach you? I know you said they can go to richkidsthemovie.com and subscribe to your newsletter. What else can you?
And if they go to the website, they'll find links to all of our Facebook page, to our Instagram, which are very the Facebook page and the Instagram are really fun and interactive, and we're constantly posting. We just had so many wonderful things come up in the last couple of months that we're just constantly posting updates, and we just have a lot of fans that are very engaged with our story and with our pages, so they can go there and check it out. But yeah, I mean, for me, if there was one last thing that I could just say, is that to the listeners, which is it's just we're a small grassroots production. And the only way that we have gotten as far as we have up until this point was by supporters who believed in our vision and believed in us, and wanted to see different kinds of movies out there. And so because we crowdfunded, we raised money, crowdfunded twice to raise money for the film, to shoot it, and people sharing our trailer, which they can find on our on all of our social media or on our website. They can share our trailer with everyone, and just getting the word out, and getting people excited about it. It really makes all the difference, and that's how we're going to succeed. Because again, what I was saying before, we're not waiting for anybody to come in and save us, and we're not waiting for somebody to come in and give us permission. We're going to take it ourselves.
Right, we're going to take it.
We're going to take it, and we're taking it, and we're kicking butt. You know, we're doing fantastic, and you know, we have you now, DeeDee, you know, on our team, and you know, so people it's people like you who care about it. You know, you guys are the ones that are going to keep getting us further and further, and continue to get the word out about the film, and continue to get people to see it. You know, this is so important. You know, especially for young people who are, you know, in, you know, their early 20s and late teens, to be able to see this film. You know, I've had so many young people come up to me who are just like, thank you for making a movie about my life, you know. Yeah. And I, you know, how can I get a DVD of this movie so that I can watch it over and over again? Because there's just nothing, you know, that's like amazing, you know. And to see, you know, for young people to see, you know, their peers on screen, see their peers, you know, succeeding in making movies, you know, it's that same thing like what I was saying, you know, if you can see it, you can be it, you know. So we just want to continue to encourage young people to tell their stories and to be able to make their own thing.
Thank you for coming on the show, and I'm going to continue to reach out to other people that I know in the Midwest to shed more light on this film. And for my listener, if you could find Rich Kids the Movie on Facebook, or go to richkidsthemovie.com, subscribe to their newsletter. And Laura Summers, I just want to thank you again for coming on the show. And again, I can't stress enough, I can't underscore enough the fact that Chicanos, Latinos, Mexicanos, we need to support Latinos in film. And this film is about social activism. So please subscribe to their newsletter and support this film. Thank you, Laura, for coming on the show.
Thank you, DeeDee. I've really enjoyed meeting you and getting to know you, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing too.
And finally, I'm going to leave with this. Frekuencia Alterna is offering complimentary tickets to Disney on Ice to watch Frozen, and it's going to be at Talking Stick Arena Resort, April 12th through the 15th. So please give us a call at 480-519-1179 to secure your tickets. And I think we've only got like 20 more, so you better hurry it up. Thank you for listening. Our producer director is going to sign us out. Thanks again, Laura.
Thanks, DeeDee.